I'm here to talk to you about how neuroscience researchers get their ideas to teachers. Now, I first want to start off with explaining that the brain is such a fascinating part of the human body, and there have been so many researchers out there trying to figure out how the brain works and how it functions and what students do in the classroom and what they do at home and how everything changes from time to time. Teachers are very resourceful in order to ensure that students are getting the most out of their education. So I have made a list as to how teachers are getting this information from neuroscience researchers on how the brain works. So the first one is reading course materials. So in this class, I have been reading How We Learn, which is a very great book. I didn't think that I would be learning so much about how my brain functions, let alone how my students are functioning with their brains. Number two would be attending conferences. So teachers are required to have continuing courses in education. And as we get further on, I have a couple of quotes from teachers who have attended conferences. The third one is watching videos. So teachers love to watch videos as well as students. I didn't put this one in here, but teachers do love stories. I love stories, so I put a little story in here that I'm going to read a little bit later. And the fourth one is they have first-hand experience with the ideas from neuroscience researchers. So after we gather all of these ideas, we implement them in the classroom, we figure out what works, what doesn't. So in my undergraduate courses, I learned about Jean Piaget and the cognitive stages of development. Sorry for my lack of words, I just got back from camp. So, Piaget believed that what distinguished human beings from other animals is our ability to do. So, as I mentioned before, teachers are very resourceful, and if we see that students are struggling in the classroom, we're going to find whatever we can to make sure that they're getting, that they are going to reach their full potential. We have the capability to learn and do. As mentioned before, our brain is capable of so much. In this class alone, I have learned a significant amount of information as to how the brain works and how the brain forgets in order to retain the information that we have right now. And that is from How We Learn, which is the book that we're reading in this class by Benedict Carey. I've also learned multiple ways to help students in the classroom, such as distraction. So this is what I read in the past couple of chapters, and this is the story that I am going to read to you that Carrie did while doing a presentation in front of a group of students. So, Carrie implemented an experiment while giving a speech. Students were given a challenging question involving 6 toothpicks, and they were to make 4 isosceles triangles. The students were given a set amount of time, but they were beyond frustrated. So, as it went on, Carrie decided to use other experiments that were easier. So, the students had more confidence, and this is something that has been proven through neuroscience researchers that if the brain is frustrated, they need a distraction in order to get back to where they need to be. And then the second one is attending conferences, which is what I had mentioned previously. I have attended multiple conferences on growth mindset, which is encouraging children that it's okay to make mistakes because their brains, like the kids that I have right now, their brains are wired to do what's right and what's wrong, and so it's hard to distinguish that right there. So if I keep letting my children know that it's okay to make mistakes, that you know what, we're going to learn from them. And then watching videos. So we've watched some videos in here about what we can do to help our children. And then the fourth one is they have firsthand experience with ideas from neuroscience researchers. So in my classroom alone, I have quite a few students who are like here or they're over here. So the spectrum is very, very big. And the best way for teachers to gather this information is through experience, which I had mentioned previously. And there is a quote from James William, who is the author of Why Urban Myths About Education Are So Persistent and How to Tackle Them. Such a long title. James said that training in how to look beyond the attractive yet empty claims of the educational snake oil and time to undertake effective professional on-the-job training that has been shown to be both reliable, rigorous, and effective. So the training that we do receive needs to be rigorous, which means that we are gaining as much information as possible in the amount of time that we are given. So I am beyond time, but I wanted to leave you with a couple of quotes from teachers who have gone to conferences. This one is from a 12th grade special education teacher. It said, when they were asked why teachers go to conferences on how the brain works, this 12th grade special education teacher said, "Yeah, it definitely has changed the way I teach. It's in the interactions you have with kids and the way you pace it, the kinds of questions you ask." The last one I want to leave you with is from a kindergarten teacher. There's no name given, but it says, "It's tough sometimes to understand why my students act the way they act and do the things they do and how they communicate. If anything, the brain conference has helped me understand my kids more." And that's what I want my kids to understand, is that I am there to help them learn. I'm there to learn myself. I want to make sure that they're getting the best education that they can, and that I am constantly refreshing my memory on what the neuroscience researchers are finding out there. So I will do it by watching videos, going to conferences, reading books, and using what I've learned firsthand experience. So I hope you have gathered some ideas about how teachers are learning from neuroscience researchers. Thank you.